thanks for tuning back in. This week's project is a little different from anything we've made before. That's why it's so exciting. We're actually going to build something that's three-dimensional. And what's so great about that is you get to view it from all sides. The difference between a painting and a sculpture is really interesting. And when you look at it, you can only see a painting from one side. But here, with a sculpture, you get to revolve around it. So we're giving you the opportunity to make your own sculpture. And we got inspired by the desert this time. You can see in front of me a little example of the agave we're going to build today. Now, the materials you're going to need for this are quite simple, but I'm going to show you how you can scale it up in a little bit, make it bigger. But first, let's go through the fundamentals and the materials. Here's what you're going to need. A pair of scissors, an eraser just in case you make a mistake, a pencil, a simple glue stick, and I'm going to go with a larger piece of poster board and split it up for you so you can see the difference in scale. But this one was made out of construction paper, so you can even use the materials that we've had before, and they're easy to find, all right? So the first thing you want to do is do the math, right? We always want to do that. So a poster board, just to tell you, is 22 inches. So the middle of that is actually 11. So we're going to mark that real lightly. We're going to do that on the other side. And what I like about doing this is I know that I need 4 equal pieces here. So the better that I do the math at the beginning, the easier it's going to be. All right? And you'll understand that because we're going to have some stencils that help you to move through it, and you're going to place this in all these areas. All right, so let me get these mathematics here. This one's 28, so half of 28 is 14. We'll be doing that there. Right, another one up here. Okay, there's the 14. Now I just do a slight line, and you could do this with a stick, or if it's smaller paper, it'll be easier, but I like the ruler because it gives you the numbers. But anything that's got a straight edge will allow you to put that line so you get your math right. Let's revolve it one more time. Okay, there's my mark there, there's my mark there. Perfect. Once you got your measurements in place, you're going to cut this into 4s, right down the middle. We're going to try to keep it as clean as we can, just so if we need extra space and the math is off a little bit, it'll help us. Let me just cut through this here. Now, with the poster board, it's a little bit difficult at the beginning, but once you get that line, it starts to flow through. There we go. Okay. Then I'm going to cut these equally in half. This is a lot easier to cut here. Straight down the line again. Just making sure I get a good cut. Because once I get to this, then I'll have the 4 equal spaces that I can use to create my sculpture. So there we go. Last one. There we go. All right, there we go. So here's my 4 pieces, now equally spaced, ready to go. And the next thing we're going to do is we have stencils that are online that you're going to find in an attachment. But you want to make sure that you're getting all 4 of these pieces. Now, let me show you what they are. First, you're going to find one that looks like a flower piece, right? And in the flower piece one, there's only going to be one of these, right? Here's the other one. It kind of looks like wings of a bird or something like that. This one's only going to be one as well, okay? But the last one has 2 pieces. And the 2 pieces, we're going to cut one from the top, and then we're going to do the other piece and cut it from the bottom. So then when it puts together, all of these things are assembled into those pieces and puzzles. The one from the top and the one from the bottom create the stability that holds up the foundation of your sculpture. So you want to make sure you cut one from the top and one from the bottom. And that's the one that's at the bottom that kind of looks like a palm tree. So now that we have all these pieces sorted out, we know that we have 1, 1, and 2 of these, you're going to get your paper. you're gonna fold them a little differently. We need two pieces that are like this in half, right? And you wanna just softly burnish the bottom. Make sure that is as good as you can. Now, if you have a pencil or a nice marker like I have here, you can just kind of burnish that edge, and what that means is just to make it as flat as it can be, so when it sits, it's gonna sit properly. So we're gonna make two like this, all right? And I'm folding that in half right now. That's top to bottom, making sure the edges are together, getting those down. I push very lightly in the middle and then push forward, push lightly in the middle, and then push to the other side. Now I have two like this, right? Now these are gonna go in length, and we're gonna fold those in half. What's gonna happen here is, we start with it, fold it, make sure we get both corners on both sides that are lined up evenly. We put a nice little soft bend, and then we just push forward slowly. And that's gonna help us to get a nice fold in there. Okay, there we go, back and forth. Making sure I get it nice and crisp. There's one. Now let's do the next one. Here we go. This one's got to go this way. Another one that's lengthwise. There we go. All right, there's the second piece. I push very softly in the middle, kind of pop it down a little bit, and then just push through so I get a nice burnish. Now, if you're using construction paper, it's going to be a lot simpler. Once you get to the poster board, it's a little stronger, so you're going to have to take your time with burnishing and folding it, okay? But now we have our two pieces, two that are length and two that are squares. So here's your rectangles and here's your squares, right? Two of each. Now, let's look at it. We know that this one's the long one here, so that's going to fit in these that are elongated, right? These over here, if you look at it, one piece goes into the middle, right? Another one, the one that we call the falcon piece, is going to be in this. And then the last one is the other piece, just same as the other one here, but remember, one's being cut from the top and one's being cut from the bottom, all right? So we have those. We go through and we trace. They should fit. Now, here's the trick. You want the folded part towards the bottom, because that's going to create the stability too. The top piece you should have open like that. So when we trace it, make sure you line up the stencil towards the bottom, or when you draw it by eye, you can look at it, but make sure it's lined up at the bottom, guys. All right? There you go. Here's another little piece right here. All right, and what I'm going to do is trace all of them out just to make sure I got them, all the pieces together, and I just move my stencils off to the side as I complete them. I'm going to do the two that are elongated, okay? So I know that those two are done. And I just want to draw softly. I'm going to cut it. You want to be able to see it, but definitely take your time tracing. And remember, you want to keep the bottom here lined up, because if it's not there, it's not going to have that stability, and it won't have a foundation. It will start to fall over. You want to make sure you have that. So there's one of those. Now we have a second one. Here's our second one here. So this one's done. There's a long one. Again, I line it up towards the bottom. You can do it by eye. The stencils are there for you just to look at. And there might be little variances in your drawing, but that's what makes it yours. That's what's important, is you're having fun designing your own sculpture. Here's the other part. Get these in. Beautiful, like that. All right, so now I have my two rectangle pieces that are made up from this piece here. Remember, that one's going to sit like that. So we want to make sure it's on that crease. These two are done. That's it. Last one. These are my two squares, or elongated pieces, and then the upright pieces. Right here, doing the falcon piece. Put it in. Draw it out. There we go. Again, making sure that the bottom is completely even when I draw because I need that bottom piece. All right, got it all there. Done with the stencils. Moving on to cutting. Before I cut, I'm gonna check, all right? Making sure my drawing is at the bottom. Get my scissors, do that little cut towards the top, but keeping it connected. So I'm gonna take it all the way up. And as I get there, I'm gonna sharpen the edges on my stencil. Back in, this is where you wanna take your time because this is how you're making those straight lines and this is how you're getting a perfect sculpture that's balanced. This is where you wanna just little by little start making these things happen. There's a piece there, okay. Now if it's not coming all the way through, I'm gonna take the time to just look and see what else, how to attach it, how to cut it. Might take a little bit of time, but that's okay. All right. There we go. Got it. Next one. Start from the top again, start going through. This one's more of a circle. That's easier. When you're going to the sharper edges, that's when it takes a little bit of time so that you don't cut off the pieces or you make a mistake and cut something you shouldn't. So the more time you take to cut, the better. Okay, this one's coming out. Nice. Okay, let's try the top again. I'm always working from the top just to make sure that I'm not cutting the bottom piece out. I want to make sure I'm going from the top, not the bottom at this point. This is the other side of it. Okay. Nice. That one came together nicely. Okay. A little bit more pulling on there. That one comes off. Now the last cut's here. And as I get the shape and I'm coming around it, now I can cut off the spare piece that's at the bottom because I don't need all of it, but there you go. So your stencil is going to help you to make the same shape. There's one piece. I've got that one done. All right. So now I'm going to do the flower piece. Again, remembering I'm not cutting the bottom, I'm cutting from the top. So as I cut from the top, I know I'm not going to detach any of the pieces. Here's the next cut. Nice. Okay, outside piece. I'll start on this side so you can start seeing the shape quicker. There you go. Nice. Here's the other one here. Now this one's going a lot easier, the flower, just because it's got a lot simpler line. It's not as detailed as the other pieces, but they're all going to take a certain amount of cutting and time to do right. Okay, let's pull this one out, a little more cutting, checking it again. That should be good. There's one. And that might happen. You might have to just wait and be patient and even go back and check and cut again. But that's all right because we want it to look good. So there's that. Pull out those little pieces. Start again from the top, always from the top. Going down. Nice. Okay, now I can come from the outside piece. Cut again. There's one. Have that cut neat. There we go. Now that's the next one. That's our flower piece. So we're putting these together. Here's one, here's two. Now when we go to the rectangle, this is when I have two of the same pieces. Again, I want to check, make sure, yeah, I'm going from the bottom. I already have my stencil, my drawing there. There's this one and this one. So we're going to cut these two out. Here we go. Now on this one, I'm starting a little bit more of the outside curve, knowing that I have my bottom piece already attached, just so I know I'm not going to go back there. Now I know what the bottom is. And you could do it your way, but that's the way I like to do it, just so I double check myself and I'm sure I'm doing the right things and making the right decisions. Okay, here's another piece. Now I've cut that one. This is more of a big V, which is fun to get out of the way because the other ones are a little more detailed cut. Okay. Now remember, I'm doing 2 of these, right? So these are going to be the foundation pieces when I start the sculpture. And these are the 2 pieces I'm cutting from the top and the bottom. All right? There we go. There's the center section. A little bit more cutting. Okay. Pull it again. There we go. Here's my scraps. Set them to the side. Now I have 2 more cuts here. There we go. All right. Another one. Line it up. Make sure I'm equal. So as I cut, I get 2 sides that are equal there. Because there are 2 sides of this. Don't forget, we folded it in half. There we go. That's looking good. Let's do the other side. Nice. Now, I'm doing this in pink, but you can do it in any color you want, or you can do the stencils in different colors. Like up here in the front, we have a light blue and a dark blue. It's really up to you, whatever you want to do with your color choices, or what you have at home. You can even draw on it if you like later. But the main idea is to build it. Make sure it's got a good look to it first, before you go off and do some of the details. There's one. Let's go to the next one. This is my last one. Again, I'm cutting from here, getting these all the way to the bottom first, because I now know that I won't be cutting from there anymore. Just with these 2 pieces, I decided to do that because, I don't know, I just feel better about getting these little triangles out of the way first, and then going back, and then I know I'm not going to have to cut from the bottom again. Okay, this one's in. Do this one too. There we go. Okay, I'm going to start from the other side, do another little cut. Last time I did the big V, this time I'm doing the big detail parts. Doesn't matter, you're going to have to cut out the whole thing anyways to make the actual sculpture come to life. All right, there we go. Now the big V that's on the top. Let's do that one. Awesome. This is the last cut. One more piece here on this side. All right, there we go. Those are the 2 we need. Now that I've cut all my pieces, I arrange them so I can see one again is cut from the bottom, the other one is cut from the top, and these are going to be my foundation pieces, so it's time to assemble. I'm going to start putting these 2 together. First thing I do is make sure they're even at the bottom. Remember what I told you, you need a good base, good foundation. Then I'm going to spread them out a little bit. And when I do that, what it does is it allows for the paper to kind of make it even more stable because it's spread out, it's not coming together. It's creating more of a structure. It's coming together that way. Next piece that goes in, I'm going to cross hatch it. What that means is in an opposite direction. So it's going to go down. Again, this one is cut from the bottom. Make sure you cut it from the bottom. And I just marry that down. Might just fit in perfectly, okay? Again, I'm going to go back and kind of fan out the paper so that as I do this, I'm not letting it fold back together. It's just happening there. Now I can see. Now the last piece, that's the top piece, the flower piece. That's going to go towards the top. And there you go. That one slides all the way down and in. Then again, I just kind of work with the agave, twisting and turning it. And this is when I get to customize it. See which side I like on it. Remember, it's 3-dimensional, it's a sculpture. You can see it from all angles. So what's so important is to kind of push it around, revolve it. Make sure you're looking. If you don't like something, work with it a little bit. But there you go. There's the pink one from start to finish. Now, if you want to go a little bigger, I made one for you. This one's in white. I have to go kind of slow here. But you can make a whole series of pieces. So here's one a little bit bigger. It's all in white. Now I told you could mix these two together. I could even take pieces that are pink and put them in there, or even slice a couple of these pieces from the smaller one and place it into the big one. It's up to you. So have fun, and if you make anything great, send it to us at Creative Kids. All right, see you later, guys.